Don't look at me in that tone of voice. I'm sure we've all heard this from our parents or even a teacher at some point in our lifetime. To many, it seems to be just nothing more than some silly old phrase that probably originated from some comedian in the 18th, 19th century somewhere. And that may be true, and it still is some silly old phrase, but no matter how you look at it, it's a good way to draw attention to the nonverbal cues that we send on a day to day basis. Face it, unless you're some obsessive compulsive person obsessed with knowing every little detail that's happening on your face, by carrying around some mirror or something in your back pocket, you're probably more unaware of all the things going on than you're really aware of. And it's very true. I'll be explaining two simple yet very important nonverbal cues that we send almost on a daily basis. The first cue that I'll be going over is touch. In today's society, it's a pretty taboo cue. There are so many rules and regulations on who you can and cannot touch, when it is and isn't appropriate to touch someone, how long to touch someone for, and even how close you get when you even touch somebody. Yet somehow it's still allowed in this society, although seldom. We probably touch each other more than you think. With an average day, just think of how many people you high five or shake hands with. I personally work your average 9 to 5 insurance job, which you'd probably think that I sit and just interact with my computer all day, which for the most part is fairly true. However, you have to understand that I still interact with people. I don't go around necessarily hugging and my coworkers and high-fiving my bosses all day, but, in the office when a deal is made, you typically conduct a functional professional touch, and you shake on a deal when it's made. It's a very short and very professional touch, but you take a slight step forward to your business partner, extend your arm, clasp hands, and shake for a matter of just a few seconds. Same goes when you meet a new superior or someone visiting from another site. And, outside of work, you also touch, too. When meeting up with friends for dinner or drinks, it would seem a little awkward if you just walked in and waved at them or just shook their hands. Typically, when you meet up with somebody, someone that you know personally, you're probably going to shake their hands and pat them on the back or even give them a hug if you know them a little bit more personally. That would be typically a friendship warmth touch. In the clip that, we just viewed, the soothsayer clip from A Funny Thing Happened on Our Way to the Forum, there were several types of touch involved. And like I'd already discussed, there was a functional professional touch between Marcus Lycus and Erroneus at the end of the clip, where Marcus agreed to rid Erroneus' house of the spirits. Now, touches aren't always used for the business and greeting scenarios like I'd already discussed, giving your friends hugs. But you can also use them to create humor. They don't have to be such a formal thing. In the beginning of the clip, the narration tells you that Erroneus' eyes aren't able to see the greatest. It actually sets the clip up for a rather amusing scenario. When Erroneus walks into Hysterium, it's in a startling touch. It's pretty humorous for a number of reasons. The biggest one being, the personal bubble that we all have. It's always funny to watch somebody walk into somebody else. Not to mention Hysterium's wearing bright yellow clothing that I'm sure could be seen from probably a mile and a half away. The other touch used in this clip to create humor is the interruption touch towards the end of the scene. Erroneus starts walking towards the hills to circle them 7 times, as instructed by Marcus Lycus. So he instantly takes off in a direction that he believes is the correct direction, and both Marcus Lycus and Hysterium immediately interrupt him and turn him around and face him to the correct direction, which is really amusing because it's the complete opposite direction. It's always just kind of amusing to see somebody who assumes that they're in the right state of mind when clearly they're in the opposite. The other nonverbal cue that I'm going to start explaining is those are the facial. A cue that seems very minute yet very important, probably above them all. Like I said in the very beginning, don't look at me in that tone of voice. Most parents probably say that to their kids on probably a daily basis. What they're really trying to tell you is that your facial expression is not matching up with what you're saying you're doing. I mean, imagine yourself at 12, 13 years old, living back under your parents' roof, having no authority in anything. Say it's summer, it's like Saturday, all your friends are already outside skateboarding or shopping in the mall, and you have a list of chores to do. A list that your parents have given you since Monday. Your mom's been nagging you to get it done all week, and, well, you've sat around the house not doing it. You want to go outside with your friends or go hang out with your friends at the mall, and your mom's saying that you need to get everything done. You're probably looking at her saying, I know, okay. You're saying but your body language and your facial expressions are pretty much saying the opposite of, I wish you'd stop nagging me, or I don't really want to be doing this. Parents, trust me, I'm a parent, they can all read exactly what's really trying to not be said. The other one that we can all relate to is, I'm sure we've all had somebody text us, email us, or even just tell us, that we need to talk. For no apparent reason, we always assume the absolute worst case scenario when we hear those four little words. Whenever we sit down with whoever it was that had said that to us, we probably have a very unsure, serious, very grave expression on our face. And of course, 9 times out of 10, it's just somebody wanting to chat, someone just wanting to hang out or say something or even congratulate you on something. And the instant that you figure out it's not them telling you the worst possible thing you can think of, you kind of start to relax and everything kind of wipes off, and it shows across your face that almost a load has just been lifted off your back, and you're probably smiling more, you're probably showing a lot more expression through your face and a lot more happy expression. And again, within that clip, the soothsayer that we just watched, there's many, many different facial expressions that show different meanings. The first is Hysterium's face in the very beginning of the clip. Like I'd said, with the instant change just after knowing a piece of information, with Hysterium, it shows his face as very happy, very cheerful, very doesn't have a care in the world expression on his face. Then he instantly catches a glimpse of Erroneous arriving home, and his face instantly just drops to a panic. It's pretty comical because it appears that Hysterium's just kind of going through this day, has no care in the world, just kind of mumbling through his own business, and then the minute he sees Erroneous, his expression just drops an instant. Everything's just going to try to go downhill at that point. Another emotion that you can see clearly within that clip is when Erroneous is trying to explain to Hysterium that he has a spirit within his house he believes is haunted. His face is still in pretty panic mode because he's still startled to see Erroneous home so soon, and his expressions are mixed between panic and trying to agree with him and convince him that yes, his house really is haunted. He has a very worried look on his face, as almost to say, is this guy really going to believe what I'm saying? Is he really buying all of this? Which he ends up buying it all, and he's very convincing. And then the other, one of the last ones that's probably pretty prominent to see is when Hysterium is signaling to Marcus Lycus behind Erroneous' back when Marcus Lycus is attempting to be the soothsayer. You can see the the look of desperation written all over Marcus Lycus' face when he's trying to read all of the cues that Hysterium's attempting to signal, and it's really kind of funny to watch all of them because there's just a point where he was trying to figure out what Hysterium was saying with the girl and the boy, or when Erroneous was looking for his son and his daughter. You could clearly see that he was flailing his arms and trying to fib up the storm behind him, and Erroneous bought it because his eyes aren't that great, which also is another creates some humor in that. And again, don't look at me in that tone of voice. It's not just a silly saying, but it is actually a way to bring your attention back to all your nonverbal cues that you're sending in a day-to-day basis. The few that I had pointed out within that clip, the soothsayer clip that we just watched, you're probably going to go back and watch it and realize them a lot more, and even walking throughout your own day-to-day life, you'll probably notice them a lot more. I know after seeing this, I really saw my own as well. So keep your eyes out for all those nonverbal cues between you and also some other people in the world.